Yeah, I'm a big fan of Business Insider, BBC News, Business Blaze, all of these very intelligent channels for smart people with big brain. Oh, I was about to say get ready to blaze, but I forgot my coffee, it's over there. And I'm already wired in, hold on. Problem solved. After all the shit I got last time for drinking Costa, people were like, Simon, why do you drink Costa? And I was like, I don't know. It's close to me and it's pretty good. But today I got Starbucks, and I quite like Starbucks regular Pike Place roast, whatever it is. Love that. I don't care what you think. It also has a ton of caffeine in. Like, that sends me up the wall. I love it. There should exist a coffee which advertises how strong it is. Like, not, you know, taste. It won't be like, ooh, it's got like a really robust taste with all sorts of undertones. It'll just be like, no, it's really strong. I would like that. Also, let's just get all my plugs in now. This isn't a sponsorship, a sponsored one. But I've been eating the shit out of this. There's the company that sponsors another channel I do called Today I Found Out. I know I'm supposed to eat their cereal with milk, but I'm snacking on this shit all the time. It's really good. I'm not going to snack on it through this video though, because that would be horrible. I suppose I should introduce myself. I'm your boy. I have the blaze. This is a script that has been written by Danny. I will read it. Sam later will add some fine memes. This one is all about clever marketing, clever ways that marketing tricks you. I have a strong feeling this is going to be good because, I mean, the internet's a really terrible place. Like, there's a lot of negativity out there, and I love adding to it. If Simon was to open this video by revealing that you only have 5 minutes left to take advantage of the never-to-be-repeated Perch the Merch sale. Oh, thank you, Danny. Don't mind if I do. You can perch the merch at perchthemerch.co. ETA is making a cameo. He's taken a back seat recently, unfortunately for him, unfortunately for everyone else. Perchthemerch.co. Never to be, we had a sale a few weekends ago. Never to be repeated, except it will probably be repeated. There's literally only 3 decal stickers left. Honestly, there's not. They're print on demand. So you should order quickly to avoid disappointment. Oh my god, I'm terrible at business. I imagine most Business Blaze viewers would just snicker into their oatmeal honey lattes. This is an oatmeal honey latte. It's not, it's a black coffee. We're not silly, and we don't get fooled anymore by the kind of tripe that advertisers used to get away with in the darker days of, say, the 1980s. In the UK and other bits of Europe, we have a furniture retailer called DFS. Oh god, DFS. It's like, yeah, there's a 98% sale off, so this sofa that normally costs £400,000 is only 50p. This weekend only, and I'm like, DFS, that sofa's never £400,000, is it? DFS are like, always, except for this one weekend. They used to bombard us every day with excitable commercials about how their latest crazy sale on sofas and soft furnishings must end soon, except it never ends. It never did. I should just read these, shouldn't I? I should just do this. Like, 99% of the comments I love. And then it's like, 1% is like, Simon, just read the script, you script robot. Oh, smash that dislike button. I have 6 other channels for that. Never did though, and it was a sale through eternity. The comedian Ronnie Corbett's finest ever line was during the opening scene to one of his famously long-winded anecdotes, in which I've never heard of Ronnie Corbett, in which he said, I remember the day well. It was the day the DFS didn't have a sale on. I think legally, they must have to have a store where everything's full price. It's probably in a field in the middle of nowhere, and it's like all of the sofas are really expensive. No one ever goes there. But I like to think that most savvy Business Blaze viewers have got wise to the concept of advertisers creating a fake sense of urgency. And we know that a 24-hour flash sale is very likely to be extended through the whole weekends due to unforeseen demand. And I don't like it. There are companies when you go to their website and they're like, this sale ends in like 12 minutes. And it's like you refresh the page and the 12-minute counter keeps counting down. There's one sponsor we have who I genuinely like with sponsors, I use their stuff, or I at least look into them thoroughly before doing it. And they do this countdown thing, and I'm like, guys, don't do that. It looks sketch. And obviously they're a giant company and I'm just a small person promoting them. But make a good product. People will buy it. You don't need to do this weird like countdown shit that everyone knows is fake. It makes it look cheap. Oh, hopefully they continue to sponsor me or I'm fucked. And we know the 24-hour flash sale is likely to be extended through the whole weekend due to unforeseen demand. We can see through the illusion of scarcity when an airline tries to convince us there are only a few tickets remaining at this super low price, or a company tries to tell us that it's running very low on stocks of UFO detecting kits. Or when? Why is there an or when there? Danny, were you going to continue a thought and then just gave up? When a website promises you a fixed price all the way through to the very last step of a checkout process, we've already factored in the possibility of suddenly getting hit with an extra $50 charge for shipping, service fees, and handling costs. Yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, I'd like this from Amazon. And it's like, oh, yeah. And often I'm ordering from like Amazon Germany or Amazon.co.uk, so I have to ship it internationally. It's like, yeah, you want these plug protectors for your house. So I bought, like, I've got a young kid and we're just baby proofing the house. I bought these plug protectors that you slot in, and it's like, it was like 10 of them for like €10. And then you get to ship, it's like €7 shipping. And then they arrive and they don't fit. And I'm not gonna return it. I really don't return anything because it sits there for a while. I box it up and then I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna return that, and then I don't. And so there's boxes in the hallway that have just never been returned. And we're always very careful to review those checkout carts just to make sure they haven't sneakily thrown in a surprise pre-ticked box which commits you to a lifetime subscription of Model Railway Monthly. Now, I'm pretty shit at that. I don't generally check, and then I get charged more and I'm like, what is this? And then I end up just cancelling my bank card. In a parallel universe, I think that the corporations eventually gave up trying to deceive customers and decided just to try being completely honest about everything. It would be refreshing, right? People really liked it when I just was honest about the merch. I'm like, look, I make enough money through AdSense. You don't need to, but there's so much bullshit like, yeah, support my channel by buying merch. I don't need your support. If you like the merch, if you think it's worth it and you'd like to have it to say like, I watch Business Blaze or this legendary shirt, buy it because I made something good. Don't buy it because you need to support poor old Simon. And it's like, I feel the same way about Patreon. It's like, oh, please help me. Please help me. It's like, bro, you got 40 million views on your YouTube channel last month. How much help do you need, son? And look, if I had a Patreon for this channel, I would not be like, please support me, I need your help. It's like, Simon wants a Ferrari. However, most non-transcendental beings are stuck with this universe in which the shady marketers just had to get a bit smarter. Bada-bum-bum. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. I've heard of this. I get this one confused. There's Baader-Meinhof, which I believe is that thing where you hear of something and then you hear of something a little bit later. And there's also what I think is Baader-Meinhof, but I think it's called something else, where you start doing something and you think you're really good at it, and then you realize that you're not very good at it. And then you realize there's lots of practice to get good at it. It's depressing. I'm leading here with a strategy that doesn't entirely convince me, but some marketing departments apparently swear by it. It's also known as the frequency illusion, or the recency illusion, or the selective attention bias. But I'm sticking with the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, partly because this name was coined first, but mostly because it's harder for Simon to pronounce. Baader-Meinhof. Baader-Meinhof. I think I know how to pronounce this because I've come across it before. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon occurs in the human brain when you suddenly start believing that something is popping up all over the place. Let's say you hear an old song on the radio that you haven't heard in years, or you catch a glimpse of a car that quite takes your fancy. I have adverts following me around the internet like everyone else. 2 years ago, a very good friend of mine sent me we often message shit we find around the internet to each other. He's like, dude, I found a website that sells spinning tops for like £80. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I bought him one and I sent it to his office. And since I bought it, 2 years, I've been Forever Spin, the company's called Forever Spin, have been following me around the internet for 2 years. Like I'm gonna buy another one of those things. Are you smoking crack?
Is it crack? Is that what you smoke?
Let's say you hear an old song on the radio that you haven't heard in years, or you catch a glimpse of a car that quite takes your fancy. Suddenly, it seems that the old song is being played in the background of every shop you visit, and all your friends are talking about the same car. Every direction you turn, every conversation you have, the same things keep cropping up over and over again, as if the universe has gone mad, or has got stuck in a groove, or is maybe just trying to tell you something. Yeah, everyone's like, oh my god, it's a sign. It's like, no, you're just paying attention to it. You're just paying attention to it more. Like, you wouldn't have noticed before. It's not spiritual. There's no such thing. And remember, it's all a lie, including your religion. Smash that dislike button. You know, when you look at the clock and you're like, oh my god, it's 11:11. I see 11:11 a lot. It's like, no, you're just, most people are awake at 11 p.m. and 11 a.m. So, you know, you're more likely to see it like 1500 hours or 3 p.m. or 3:33. You're never going to see because no one is awake at 3:30 in the morning, except for my wife with our young child. It's terrible sleep. It's just a coincidence. But it's more of a brain illusion wired to the concept of selective attention. Once you hear or see or discuss something of interest, your awareness of experiencing it is again amplified. And then, when you become aware of it popping up repeatedly, you begin to notice it more and more, and it evolves into a confirmation of your theory. The frequency isn't really particularly high at all. It's just that your brain has become hyper-tuned into detecting a single pattern, while quite probably ignoring several other potential cases of mass repetition, which doesn't seem as significant. The term was named in 1994 after an ultra-left-wing militant West German terrorist group, holy The Baader-Meinhof gang, also known as the Red Army faction, which might seem a bit odd as these kinds of things tend to get named after professors and linguists who researched them. But in this case, the term was coined during an online discussion in which participants were discussing the phenomena and the lack of a name for it. And one guy suggested Baader-Meinhof because it just happened to hear the name multiple times in one day after having previously never heard of it. So it could just have easily been named the Bananarama phenomenon. Okay, doke. But what has all of this got to do with marketing? Jesus Christ, yeah, let's get into it, Danny. We're 2 pages in! People came here for business. Someone messaged me the other day, it was like, Simon, I had a great moment at work because I have an allegedly mug, which is this, allegedly, but on a mug. And he was like, and someone asked what's with the mug, and I'm like, oh, it's from a channel I like called Business Plays. And I think it was his boss, and he was like, good on you. Watching business content on YouTube, I can see you're a go-getter. Yeah, Business Plays is pretty good disguise. Like, what channels do you like? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Business Insider, BBC News, Business Plays, all of these very intelligent channels for smart people with big brain. Well, some marketing gurus strongly believe that the more times they thrust their products and services in your face via ad retargeting, the more likely you are to buy them because your brain is getting persuaded that the product is more popular and desirable and on trend than it really is. And the stats seem to back this up to some degree, with many customers only finally deciding to buy the item after they've seen exactly the same ad pop up in their Facebook newsfeed about 25 times. I'm not completely sold though. I'd be more likely to get deeply annoyed with seeing the same thing over and over again. Ever since I first started researching scripts for Business Plays, my Facebook newsfeed has been flooded with some quite bizarre adverts based on my recent online activity. And no matter how many times I see exactly the same adverts for Trump ice water or pink Himalayan salt, I'm not buying because we know those things are shit, allegedly. Confirm shaming. One slightly dubious tactic that companies use to try and get you to opt into their mailing list and newsletters is to make you feel like you're a massive idiot if you don't. It's like, yeah, you know when you arrive on a website, the thing pops up and it's like, hey, save 10% today, and then the cancel button is like, no, I like not saving money. I'm just like, whatever, f off. It usually boils down to a simple question and 2 possible options to choose from, which are yes, I'll tick this box and you can have my email address so you can bombard me with totally irrelevant marketing until I finally reach snapping point and summon enough mental energy to try and find the unsubscribe option. Oh my god, I get emails from like some DIY company because I once bought a drill from them or some shit like that. And I'm like, please stop emailing me. And their unsubscribe button is a 404. Oh, or no, as in not bloody likely, piss off. But over the years, marketers have found simple but compelling ways to make the yes button sound more appealing, while making the no button sounds like it's only a knuckle-dragging half-wit would press it. Even vaguely respectable corporate giants such as Amazon use a fairly gentle version of this technique on a pop-up window promoting Amazon Prime service, where the negative option is, no, I don't want unlimited one-day shipping. Oh my god, yeah, every time. And I don't have Amazon Prime because they got me with this once. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take the 30 days for free. And then I live in Prague in the Czech Republic. This was Amazon Germany, is normally where I buy my stuff, and it ships pretty easily. But then it's like, great, I've got Prime. What advantages do I get? It's like, oh yeah, no. This you can now, but you couldn't then. It's like, yeah, you get Amazon Prime Video, but you know, it's not available in your region. Oh, what? You get free delivery? Yeah, except only within Germany. So why did I sign up for this? And so I cancelled, and now every time it's like, do you want to do this? What are we talking about? No, but other companies are happy to take a few digital steps further in the mission to shame you into not making the clearly correct choice. An online marketing course for beginners goes with, yes, make me more effective. No, I don't want more knowledge. A huge UK outdoor retailer presents the following choice. Yes, sign me up for an exclusive camping deals. No, I don't like having fun. Who falls for this? Everyone knows what it's about. Meanwhile, the food news and recipes website Delish serves up, yes, I'd like to receive new easy and delicious recipes. No thanks, I'll just have a microwave meal tonight. You could phrase that like, yes, I'd like to spend hours cooking food. No, I'd like to heat up tasty food in the microwave. Oh, we're not a million miles away from a healthy living organization deciding to go with, yes, I'd like to live a healthier life. No, I'm happy to continually abuse my body until I get so fat that I can't move and I end up choking to death on my own vomit, sat alone and unloved and untouched by any other human soul. Danny, that got dark. The whole thing seems to be based on insulting your intelligence and insulting you personally, but it's a strategy that seems to pull in strong results in the moment. And speaking of that, I mean, if you're not subscribed to Business Plays, well, you're a bit dim, aren't you? It kind of proves that you're a bit dim. So smash that subscribe button, Don't be a demo. However, marketing experts predict that confirm shaming will fall out of fashion sooner rather than later as more and more consumers wise up to their manipulative maneuvers. I mean, subscribe to Business Blaze. It doesn't make a difference. The decoy price. It's strange to think that some packages presented to you by a business are priced in such a way that you never actually are meant to buy them at all. I'm not talking about ridiculously overpriced high-end options. It's more to do with the rubbish value mid-range options which drive you to the most expensive option. I've heard of this. It's like if there's like 4 prices of baked beans or whatever. It's like, I'm gonna stop because Danny is about to explain this to us, and I should have learned this lesson about 100 scripts ago, so here we go. Let's say that you're taking a sunny stroll down a beach in Skegness in the UK. Sunny beach in the UK, please, Danny, come on. And you come across a hairy bloke selling jelly deals by the bucket. He's offering a small bucket of them for £3 and a jumbo bucket for £8. In this scenario, unless you haven't eaten anything for several days, you're most likely to plump for the small bucket option because there's such a gulf in price difference between the two that you don't want to seem greedy. But there's another hairy bloke at the other end of the beach who's also selling jelly deals by the bucket, but he's managing to shift far more jumbo buckets even though he's charging exactly the same prices for small and jumbo sizes. The only difference is that he's also offering a medium bucket of jelly deals for £7. He's not selling any of those at all, but he's never expected to. It's just a decoy option to get more people to buy the jumbo bucket. They do this at the cinema. Do you want a small popcorn? It's this big. But for like 20p more, you can get one that's twice the size. And for 20p more than that, you can get one that's 4 times the size. And you know, they're like starting at £3 or whatever. And I'm always like, no, I'll take the small one because if I get the big one, I'm gonna eat all that shit. It's a theory that's been proved to work by Israeli-American professor of psychology and behavioral economist Dan Ariely. He offered 100 students 3 different subscription options for The Economist magazine and asked them which one they'd choose. The options were a digital-only subscription for $59, a print-only subscription for $125, or a digital and print subscription for the same price of $125. Most students plumped for the latter as it seemed like the best deal. But when he took out the print-only option and tried the test again, most students picked the digital option as it was the cheapest by far. The print-only option was a decoy price, created purely to represent poor value and to make the most expensive option seem like a pretty good deal by comparison. This is so smart. And of course, The Economist would do this. The decoy price triggers a framing effect, cognitive bias, which leads the consumer into making an inaccurate judgment based on the distortion created by a rogue third option, which is vastly inferior but priced very close to the high-end option. It is sneaky, but it's very clever. Still, even so, you'd probably only need a small bucket of jelly deals at the most. They're absolutely bloody awful. I don't think I've ever had jelly deals, but I'd definitely give it a try. Dodgy email subject lines. I can remember when it seemed like quite a novelty to receive a marketing email that actually had your first name appear at the beginning of the subject line. Now it just seems like, yeah, of course. Of course. Who is this tricking? I'm sure there were plenty of people at the time who believed that somebody in the marketing department had actually taken the time and the effort to compose a personal email for just their benefit. How sweet of them. No one thinks that. Of course, nowadays it seems pretty old hat because it's so easy for any business to use custom tags in their mailing software to generate the recipient's name or any other harvested details in the subject line. Yeah, like I often fill out like emails forms sarcastically, so the number of emails that are just addressed to Dear the Boss. Yeah, it's pretty good. Or we know when companies forget to do it, so it's like, Dear first name. And if you receive an email titled Peter, we have a very special offer for you. We all know a very similar email has been sent to at least 500,000 other suckers. In truth, I don't think there's really any harm to adding a quick personal touch to a subject line, but there are far dodgier tactics to look for. Ooh, there are, I'm excited. I spent a few years working in marketing for an Australian print and design company. Danny, your life, man. And I have to admit that I cocked up very badly one time and let the side down. I used to be in charge of all the newsletter and email campaigns, and they usually went down pretty well with the customer base. We never really did the hard sell thing. We usually just strived to write something a bit quirky and genuinely entertaining, with a few casual links to the products and services here and there. The customers seem to appreciate that approach. Yeah, I mean, if it's got that approach, and I'm going to open your email and find something enjoyable in there, I'm actually going to open your email. If it's from like, hey, British Airways customer number 400, have you considered a trip? But for one particular email campaign, I decided to go with the subject line, first name. I have some very bad news for you. I can't remember why exactly. It was probably to do with the special offer closing very soon or something like that. Well, the email rate proved to be sky high, but the company never received so many complaints in one day. Customers felt as if they'd been conned into opening the email. Maybe they thought I was going to tell them that their grandma had died, although why this information would come from a print and design company is a bit of a mystery. I don't know. It can be like, because you might read the subject first, and you'd be like, oh shit, what? Oh no, who's this from? And then you look and it's like Print and Design Australia, and you're like, oh, Okay. Well, thanks for the skip and a heartbeat there. Also, the people who write urgent attention, or no, what is it? Like action required. People who write action required in the subject line for a non-important email, I despise you more than Danny despises jellied eels. But they were right to feel aggrieved, and we apologized. A subject line like that didn't just sit right on the inbox screen, it felt a bit deceiving. A couple of strategies we would have never dreamed of using are the fake reply and the deliberate mistake approaches. Oh my god, people who include reply or forward in the subject lines of your messages where it's not a reply and a forward. You. Some companies add re or forward to the beginning of a subject line. I hate you! To try and indicate that it's part of an ongoing casual conversation between the two of you. That's not really on at all because it's completely fake, but sadly it works because readers tend to assume that it's part of a real conversation between two people rather than junk mail. And some companies will place small deliberate mistake in the opening email just so that they can follow it up briskly with another email entitled something like, oops, we messed up. Not only does that mean that they get away with sending two marketing emails in quick succession to really hammer home the point, it also plays into the concept that human beings are naturally intrigued by a cock-up, and they will open the second email just to discover what went wrong. So bearing all of this in mind, the ultimate email subject line guaranteed to generate interest will be something along the lines of, Re, Peter, we screwed up beyond belief and we have some distressing news about your children. Oh god. You can also change the sender name to whatever the you want. No one's doing that yet, fortunately. But it would be a bit distressing if they just changed it to Dad. So, oh no, what's going on with my family? Loss aversion. Finally, I'm usually a big supporter of the free trial mode if the product or service is good. I very probably wouldn't be forking out £80 a year for Amazon Prime if they hadn't offered me a month's free trial first. Oh my god, yeah. So we use a big project management system. I use it to run all the channels. Everyone on the team works in this program called Trello. Trello is fantastic. It's an unbelievably good and flexible program.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
And it's free. And then it's like, hey, you don't have more than like 10 users or whatever. And you've got more boards. And I'm like, oh, I knew this day was coming. It's like, now it's like over $1,000 a year. And I'm like, oh, it's well over $1,000 a year actually. Hey, Trello, I love your if you want me to talk, I'll talk about you. Just give me Trello for free. And shortly after writing a Business Blaze script on the Bulgarian who managed to legally swindle $1 million from Spotify, I ended up signing up for a 3-month trial of the streaming service, and now I suspect I'll be giving them 10 quid a month forever. Danny, it's 2020. How are you just getting on Spotify now? But although it might seem quite reasonable for a company to offer you a generous free trial before you fully commit to the service, there can also be a psychological principle at play here, and it's based on the fact that humans can't bear the thought of losing anything. The term loss aversion was coined by Israeli Nobel Prize-winning psychologist and economist Daniel Kahneman. What's up with all the Israelis figuring this shit out? Wasn't the last guy Israeli? Yeah, Dan Ariely. Those guys are on it. And his mathematical associate Amos Tversky back in 1979. Throughout the 80s and 90s, they conducted several wide-ranging tests which demonstrated how people will fiercely clutch onto any old tat. Daniel Kahneman wrote a book that I recently read. Is it Thinking Fast and Slow? Is that Daniel Kahneman? It was really good. An early test involved giving one group of 100 participants a $2 lottery ticket and another 100 students $2 in cash each. They were later asked if they wanted to trade for the other option, and barely anybody from either group chose to do so. That is fascinating. Because if someone gave me the $2 lottery ticket and offered me $2 in cash, I'd be like, yes, please. Because you know what I'm not winning? The lottery. And even I wouldn't want to win the lottery. I've discussed this before on Business Blaze. I would not want to win the lottery because from that point on, everyone is going to be like, Simon, you're only successful because you won the lottery. Later similar tests involved mugs and chocolates and all kinds of shit, but the results were always very conclusive. Very few of the participants were remotely interested in giving up what they already had, even if trading it in would have resulted in getting something back of higher value. I suppose there must be a point where the difference in value gets so wide that common sense starts to kick in, and I'd like to think that not many participants would have turned down the chance to trade their Enron mug for a Harrier jump jet. OG Business Blaze joke right there, but the point is that free trials can be hugely profitable strategies for businesses, even if the products or services aren't that amazing. Human beings will lose more satisfaction from throwing away $100 than they would gain from winning $100 because our feelings towards loss and gain are not equal. So, they're more likely to keep hold of that subscription to Model Railway magazine after the free trial just because it's become incorporated into the status quo and they can't bear the thought of letting go. By the way, that's twice now that we've mentioned Model Railway magazine. screen. 3 times now, Danny, and that's fascinating. Within a fairly short period of time. If it keeps popping up in your life over the next few days and weeks, it's either an example of the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon in beautiful motion, or you just move in very strange circles. I am going to keep an eye out for that, Danny. If you'd like to look as amazing as me wearing this allegedly t-shirt, well, and I also like how I'm looking at my camera when I'm wearing the business blazer. Hell yeah. And then you can just be like, what up? If you'd like to get this, go to Business Blaze. Nope, that's not where you go. Go to purchthemerch.co for Colombia. And I will see you next time. I was gonna say have a fine weekend because I'm recording this on a Friday, but maybe it's releasing on a Wednesday. In that case, well, you've got several more days of work left. Have a great week. And then you can just be like, what up?